Are you ready?
My name is Vanda.
I've just been asked, and it's not a crazy question, but how do you feel sad when you know that staying sad is not an option, but you still feel sad, right? So how do you go through the process knowing that we're in a very strong, progressive time on the planet where there are many awakenings, there are many things happening simultaneously, and our emotional capacity is evolving and speeding up due to the openness of conversations, alertness, information, sharing collaborations, all of that. So how do you stay in that space where you're able to honor that? How do you do that? Well, sometimes it's easier said than done. Okay, actually, not sometimes it's easier said than done. It is easier said than it's done. Why? Because as we speak, too often we're speaking out of an autopilot way of what we have been brought up to say or how to say it. Communication is extremely powerful, but it's only powerful when it has the freedom to be fully expressed. And that is not something we have been brought up to share our true feelings, share who we are, and be in that space of just recognizing that our spiritual evolution and knowing who we are comprises itself from us being able to be in tune by the way we feel. So I want to just answer the question. Sadness is an emotion. You can't avoid sadness. Sadness comes from the experience of a loss or something that you're no longer happy about, or you feel a detachment. But it is part of an experience that your emotion has gone through. Now, I am not the believer to go into therapy about continuous sadness, because I'm more of a stronger believer that you're able to honor that sadness by being sad and acknowledging that you are connected to the sadness because you have experienced something. But then you also need to be able to release that in a way so that you're able to go back to feeling empowered or enriched or acknowledged or valued or understood. Staying in that momentous feeling of sadness brings an undeniable force as well that too often we forget that is unstoppable. Because the longer that you are in sadness is the longer that the law has to abide by how you are feeling and vibrating. Our greatest communicator is our vibration. It's our signals. Sometimes you look at people and you know that they're internally sad. How did you know that? You knew that because you're a feeler and you're empathic. You're able to vibrate. You're able to get into that vibration and tune in and translate that. We all can. Now, so some people are far more focused and in tune to that, like I am. I'm able to translate energy. I'm an energy translator, but I'm born this way. I didn't go to school. I didn't go to read a book. I didn't go do all of that. I was brought up in me being that. And then I had to go close the gap in understanding what that vibration and frequency meant. But the sooner you are able to tune in and get that understanding of yourself, that of course you're going to be sad if something triggers an emotion and it releases. But staying in that sadness also has that cause and effect space within every realm. There's a law of correspondence that's here. There's a law of attraction that is here. These are laws of the universe. You can't defy them or deny them. And so sooner or later, once that sadness has been acknowledged and you choose to carry on being sad because either you have the inability to release or let go, or you feel justified by that sadness, or you're being too often acknowledged with false attention to that sadness, triggers a different correspondence in the law of the universe. And now, all of a sudden, you read another sad article. Now you get another sad friend, and somebody calls you and they're very, very sad. And then something happens that triggers on another sadness. Now you've got to work extra, extra, extra hard at raising that vibrational connection and attunement with yourself so that you're able to monitor the thoughts that you're getting, but also evaluate your true feelings. Our bodies know how to heal. So do you. You know how to heal from these situations. Time is the greatest healer, so we go through it. But it's more our capability of understanding our emotional capacity. Telling somebody that they, in the moment of true sadness, to let it go and release it and be okay and move on from it and shake it off. That's not being insensitive. That is ignoring their emotional ability or their emotional bandwidth to be able to do that. And truthfully, I feel that more and more and more people are falling into these webs and pockets and potholes of depression because they're not dealing with their true emotions. Sadness is a circumstantial exchange between an emotion and an event that has happened. It either has to make you happy or it makes you sad. Those are the contrasts. And truthfully, when you have a moment of true sadness, the desire to be happy and to bring enlightenment and wisdom to that exists as well. But the noise is so loud and those whispers are so soft that we are not hearing that everything, every emotion, every experience is corresponding to the wholeness of all of your realities, of being human, of being part of you, your creative force and power, part of your experience, part of all of these things. I don't know of one person that I personally know, including myself, that hasn't gone through moments of sadness. And you're able to have empathy when you recognize somebody else that is going through it, so that it can give you the bridge to share wisdom or a true helping hand, because now you understand. And that's a conversation that the more we're able to do that, the richer our societies will be, because those paradigms now open up a whole lot of realms of possibilities. Because once you start understanding your peers, your children, your colleagues, your husband, your family, once you understand your friends, that can only come from a better understanding of you. And when you get to understand that, from you having the experience of being sad and understanding that moment of true sadness in a friend or a foe, it is still your choice to be understanding. And it will always be your choice to have peace in your heart, to acknowledge that emotional corresponding vibrational frequency, so that there is healing. And when those ingredients come into place, you have a shift of awareness that truly awakens compassion in humanity. And that now opens up the carpet and opens up the drawers and the libraries and the wisdoms that we are all needing to understand how to better respect and understand each other as we go through our own lives and the lives that we are co-creating with the people in our lives and outside of our lives, through what connects us in these laws of correspondence and these laws of the universe. So from my insight and from hoping that I'm able to share this to the best capability that I can, honor your sadness, absolutely. If you need to write it down, write it down. But as soon as you write it down, make sure that you burn it, release it, and choose to understand that that is something of true value that is able to enrich you, and a moment that may show up as the door opens up for you to transcend and help somebody progress or heal, that could have the biggest ripple effect in self-understanding, self-awakening, and a true empowerment and enrichment that us as human beings are calling for every day in our prayers. How that got so out there, but that just shows you that who are we not to recognize that a moment of sadness is not a true moment for us to recognize that we do have the power to have a better and clearer understanding of who we are being as creators on this planet as human beings. It is truly remarkable how everything is interconnected, and this tapestry of life and emotions and thoughts have so much wisdom that you could get excited about an opportunity that you've been tapped by, a moment that really, really moved you and got you into sadness and opened up that opportunity for you to share, for you to bridge and close the gap to kindness. How simple that word is, but it's just a word. What about if a simple smile would be the emotional healing antidote that that person needs to receive in that true moment of despair or sadness? So the next time you get touched by sadness or brought into a moment that you hear a song and it takes you into the depths of sadness of yesterday's woes and experiences, stay there long enough to recognize that your choices after that are vitally important. If it's self-imposed sadness, then you need to learn to shake that off quickly. Wash your hands from your past aggressions and your past convoluted justifications to stay sad. Because sad is not the sexy. Sad is not the way the world needs to be. It is in your power to understand that sadness is not even an emotion. It's an effect of you having an emotion that's either disappointed you or you have felt a gap within yourself and your soul, and you finding yourself in to be reorientated. So don't stay there too long, but don't ignore it if you're truly sad. Because if you're truly sad and you're ignoring it and you are taking a pill or, taking a high energy drink or, or having an alcohol beverage or a non-alcohol beverage, or you are running. I know a ton of runners, and athletes that are running away from their truth because they are emotionally drained in their sorrows and they are constantly sad. You cannot stay constantly sad. That means that you are looping that energy and that those thoughts are just churning. And it's like a washing machine that doesn't go anywhere and it's just changing waters, it's changing emotions and it's revving you up. So experience the sadness, but let it go. How do you do that? Write a letter to yourself. Write a letter to the person that made you sad. Burn it. Go for a walk with yourself. Breathe. You cannot continue to stay sad if you're bringing in new life and breathing in the life that creates newness, hope, faith, and possibility. It has to move. That energy has to move. If you're finding that you're constantly sad, then you need to address this because psychologically you're being impacted by disorders of anxiety or of yourself that are not aligned, and you could be misfiring all this energy and you just need to be recalibrated. I don't know what those answers are, but raising your awareness to detaching yourself without understanding and having a sense of value and acknowledgement would also not be the right way, right? And there's no right and wrong. It's what are you able to do? How quickly are you able to honor that effect? I understand, yes, that is sad, but my choice is to bring that into an awareness so that you either don't do it again or you recognize that life in itself has these moments, right? So I hope that answers a little bit for you, but it also plants new seeds so that you are feeling the true strength within your core. Because there is no ray of light that is birthed from sadness. You're not born from a sad spirit. Your soul is not sad. God, the source, the creator of this universe and galaxy and universes, that's not sad. That's a cosmic dance. Those sadness come from how you're emotionally tuned in, right? So, tap in, understanding who you are, giving value to the moments that you're sharing, and then quickening those experiences so that you're able to choose what serves you and who you're being.
My name is Vandha.